Octomom proves once again that her life is not as ordinary as any one of ours. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe to m&rtv and hit the bell so you never miss any upload from us. Also, leave a like right now. Motherhood is a choice you make every day to put someone's well-being and happiness ahead of your own, to teach the hard lessons and to do the right things, even when you're not sure what the right thing is, and to forgive yourself over and over again for doing everything wrong. Nadya Suleman, known as Natalie, and even more popularly known as the Octomom, suddenly disappeared after being in the limelight for years after her pregnancy and giving birth to octuplets at once. No one ever captured her life after turning into a mother and taking those challenging sips of motherhood. Find how drastically her life has changed. Did it change for something better, or was it something even worse? Natalie is a mom of 14 children. Yes, you read that right. Very few people are aware of this. When she became the fodder for gossip, she was pregnant with 8 children at a time, but she already had 6 children prior to the upcoming 8 ones. She became famous for this act of hers in the year 2009. Soon only she turned infamous. Why? There was a lot more to her story which had never been clearly talked about before. Nadya Suleman gave birth to octuplets in the month of January in the year 2009. She became a public figure and is now known as the American media personality. She captured the media's eye after giving birth to 8 children in a single go. Soon the media dubbed her identity as the Octomom. Suleman has appeared on many TV shows and has always curbed the questions on her being not able to afford the future of these 8 children, with already 6 children prior to these. Her journey from a schoolgirl to an octomom has been a roller coaster. Before entering the glamour world with her octuplet pregnancy, Nadya was an unemployed mother of 6 children. She lived in total crisis. There was barely any food to serve to these growing babies. They lived in a total hand-to-mouth kind of atmosphere. When already there was so much of a cash crunch, then why did Nadya plan for 8 more children? What were her plans on bringing them up in such tight financial situations? Many believe that the act of giving birth to an octuplet was to gain the media popularity. Nadya was looked upon as a lady who, to gain the limelight and earn celebrity status, risked the life of not just the newly born 8 children, but her already existing 6 older children. After the birth of the octuplets, Nadya has been able to attract the much-craved attention. People claim that she has kept the need for fame over her family. Nobody knows how true that is, but there are possibilities that it could be one of the reasons for her turning infamous. Nadya reveals that she struck a reality TV show in the UK on April 16, 2009. However, certain reports show that some networks were reluctant to go about this show. The reality TV show would showcase the Octomom and her daily chores on managing with the 8 children at once. She even filed an agreement in the Los Angeles Superior Court on July 24, promising that her children would earn $250 each for casting in the reality show. Everyone wanted to know, how did she manage to give birth to 8 children at a time and earn the title of Octomom? Natalie's octuplets were only the second set of octuplets being born completely alive in the United States. She even holds a Guinness World Record for that. It was through IVF treatment that she gave birth to her children, and not just once. She used this treatment for some 3 times. You will be amazed to know how it all began. Nadya was only a 21-year-old girl when she gave birth to her first child, a son. She began with it in the year of 1997. After that, she became a mom to 6 children, 4 sons and 2 daughters, via the same IVF in vitro fertilization procedure. With this procedure, she could get her fused eggs implanted in her uterus after they were fertilized outside the body. Even after being the mother of 6 children, she got all her embryos implanted at once in the year 2008. How did she get money for following up with this procedure? Before being recognized as the Octomom, she was a student at California University pursuing her studies in child and adolescent behavior. Later, Nadya was working in a mental hospital where she claimed to have been hit in the back during a riot. In the name of disabled payments, she collected a sum of money, more than $165,000, and used it for her proceedings with her treatment. She was still taking her graduation classes when she conceived her octuplets. But everyone was curious to know who was the father of these children. Nadya dated David Suleman before she conceived the octuplets. Her mother says that these children were a result of his specimen. However, Nadya's father declines this and says that this is all media reports. The actual father of these children is unknown. However, these children carry David's last name as well. Little is known about the true identity of the father of these 14 children. The rest that is known is all a part of the big controversy. How did she remember the names of so many children? It is quite interesting to know how she named her children. All the children carry Angel as the middle name because she believes it was by the grace of God that she could give birth to these 8 children at a time. It was a superhuman task. The name of her children, beginning from the oldest one to the youngest, is Amara, Calissa, Elijah, Joshua, Aiden, and Caleb. And her octuplet names, Noah, Jonah, Jeremiah, Josiah, Isaiah, Micah, Neriah, and Maliah. Not everything is as charming as it sounds. Not only were the octuplets a cover story, but their names are too. There is no evidence about why Nadya changed her name to Natalie, nor is it known why her children carry the surname Solomon and not Suleman. Even after breaking up with David, her ex-boyfriend, why do their children carry his last name? Also, why does the middle name Angel hold such importance? There's quite more beyond the birth of these octuplets. Nadya now tells of her 14 children. 2 were born with the same birth defects. One of her children, named Calissa, who is 11 years old, is specially abled, and another one named Aiden, who is one of the twins, is suffering from autism and thus demands extra care and nourishment. She says, "I have to wake at 5 in the morning to just dress my children for school. You really need to be fast in dressing 14 children at a time." She too was named something which is really amusing. Nadya once again got famous, but this time for a wonderful reason. She somehow looks like the very famous Hollywood actress Angelina Jolie. Not only was Nadya a replica of her in looks, but she too was a mother to many children like her. People reported that Nadya had undergone many plastic surgeries to look like the famous actress. She is assumed to have got a Botox treatment for her lips, cheek implantations, and a nose job as well. But this all could not change the Octomom's infamous public image. But why was Nadya associated with wrong deeds? Nadya, though, was a public figure and had a worth of $1 million after giving birth to 8 children, was bankrupt later. While Nadya was already living in a crisis, barely surviving on food stamps, it was quite obvious that growing these children now was a challenge. The reality show alone was not enough to make up for the survival of the family. Soon she realized this and overtook some of the really tough decisions of her life, and she had to go through a lot more. Nadya says that her notoriety took her to the adult entertainment industry. In the year 2012, she became part of the movie Octomom Home Alone, which was awarded the Best Adult Movie in the year 2013. She now tells that she never wished to do this, but to give her children a better life, she had to continue here. She was even on heavy drugs and medication to bear with all that she was doing. She even had a phase of life which she termed as self-exploitation. In an interview conducted after years, Nadya said, "We were on the verge of homelessness. Instead of putting my children on the camera, I thought to put myself up there. I fully exploited and dehumanized myself with the act of stripping and working in adult films. It had some major consequences for her, self-disgust and shame. To cope with all these happenings, she began with prescriptions and medications. There was a dark side to this as well. The protective services kept on visiting the Suleman's house to keep a check over all the children's living atmosphere. There was a suspicion that the money from taxpayers was being provided to the single mother to take care of her 14 children was spent by the mother in fulfilling her desires. In front of media, Nadya never portrayed herself as a struggling mother on welfare. Why was that? Could never be understood. Rather, she was spending dollars on her hair treatment. She was even a costume at Halloween. Nadya had to face all kinds of shame for her life. People already criticized her for becoming a mom who gave birth to 8 children at a time. Now they were looking at her as even more of an amusing figure. They designed special costumes relatable to the Octomom and dressed in it at Halloween. At every point, life was throwing challenges at her, and she had no other option than facing them until the day the adult industry could serve her the much-needed financial support, but Nadya lost her cool. She was not in a state of peace and was under depression. She would mix her medicines with alcohol and consume them. She later on discovered that she was doing the same mistake from which Whitney Houston died. And then a life-changing night happened when a man approached her in the strip club. That night, Nadya reached her breaking point. She was already not able to digest this shame, and then a male approached her at the strip club in February 2013 in Florida. In one of her interviews, she recalls how a quite tall-looking man came to her and looked deeply into her eyes. She thought him to be a random guest at the club, but no, he was someone who changed her life forever. Who was it? The stranger grabbed her by her arm and took her to the corner. He was firm in his words, which said, "You don't have to do this, you really don't need to." And he repeated it for some 5 times. As the man spoke these words, Nadya went weak. She began crying like a baby. She experienced the ugly feeling of nausea and looked down to cover her face. As she grabbed her breath to see who the man was, the man had already left. Though the guy left, he marked the beginning of a change in Nadya's life. What was that change? Nadya didn't know who that guy was, but whosoever he might have been, for her, he was no less than an angel. Just the words of the anonymous man were enough for Nadya to quit her job at the stripping club and begin with a new life. Nadya recalls a phase from her past life where she states that she woke up with an ugly, dead, and visceral feeling inside her. She was so done with her life that she wanted to commit suicide, but then something stopped her. Nadya herself wanted to come out of this mean and vicious circle of life she had ended up in. She wanted to change her life for the better, and most importantly for her children. She did not want her children to remember their mom for all the things the media had been broadcasting. She wanted them to remember her just like any other mom, a decent citizen of the nation. Nadya says, "I was forced into doing things I didn't want to do because I was so terrified I couldn't support my children and give them the life they deserved." How she went about is really inspiring. To start her life afresh, Suleman took a major call. Her octuplets are now the only set of 8 children to survive. They turned 9 years old in January, and then Nadya decided to go back to her homeland. She took her children to Laguna in Orange County, California, where she had grown up. She wanted a healthy and stable life and was all set to leave behind her life, which made her infamous, and then again she regained the media attention for something not good. In the year 2014, when Nadya was trying to get her life back on track, she was found guilty of welfare fraud. She was sentenced to 200 hours of community service, along with 2 years of probation for failing to report income while on public assistance. She was accused of not reporting a major part of her income, but she was ordered a no-contest plea. What she had to say about it was an altogether different story which none reported. In the words of Nadya, she was innocent. She handed over the charge of managing her accounts to her managers. It was the managers who were to blame for this. Nadya wanted to devote her time to her children who were young and needed her attention. She handed over the cards and checkbooks to her managers, and she wanted to manage her children and not the money. She now says that she was foolish to trust those men. Luckily, the fraud was expunged, and she could again start with the awaited change. Nadya Suleman is now a public speaker. She makes money by appearing in various public events. She interacts with other men and women who are habitual to drugs and alcohol. She is a part-time counselor. She is trying her best to make a change in her lives. She would be educating them about the deadly consequences of these and would even inspire them with her story. If you're wondering about her children, then voila, it's a happy one now. Nadya is currently living with her children in Laguna in Orange County, California. They live in a 2-bedroom townhouse there. Also, she has converted her office to a third room so that all her children could get proper space to sleep. From being on the verge of homelessness to a home, it had been a tough ride. But as she changed, her life too did, and so did her children. Though she has been working, there are times when it gets difficult to make up for the needs of the family of 15. Nadya says that her family receives government aid, which helps in supporting her family. Moreover, the government provides them with food stamps, which help in feeding her children. Being occupied with her 14 children has made her an antisocial being, but that doesn't bother her much, as she never wanted to be a social figure. Aiden is suffering from autism, and his siblings understand that. They treat their little brother with all the love and care. Nadya even tells how Makai, her other son, follows Aiden like a shadow. He even gives him bites of his food. They share a very special bond, while her other children would act as guardian angels for Aiden. Her family is just like the majority of families. Aiden has a mind of an 18-month-old and is still in diapers. We wish for a speedy recovery of this special child. Her octuplets and she follow a vegan diet now. However, her other 6 children are omnivores. They survive only on plant-based foods and don't consume any sort of dairy products. They are healthy and fit beings who are too energetic for everything. They have incorporated a healthy lifestyle into their routines. To maintain her public image, Nadya follows a strict fitness regime. When she was young and had no kids, she was quite healthy, but after being a part of the glam and adult world, she has shed weight to ensure that the little clean image she has still persisted. She does everything to be in front of the camera for a good reason. Nadya never wanted a partner in life, but why? When she was having a tough time bringing up her children, she said that she never wanted a partner. She could easily look after her 14 children. Nadya wanted to be a mom. She craved the feeling of belongingness, which her children could easily fulfill. She desired attachment in life, and no significant other could provide it better than what these children were. When someone asks Nadya about her plans for having more children, she laughs at it now. She calls it to be the farthest thing she could even imagine now. She's no longer having plans of producing more hands and legs, but she will all her life provide her children with emotional and psychological needs. This statement of hers undoubtedly tells how hard of a time she's had growing her 14 children. Nadya plans on getting her book published. Her son had inspired her to write one. The one who was suffering from autism inspired her to write that. The book talks about the challenges of growing a child with a disability. She says that though the book wasn't a memoir, her children made it more interesting. She believes her book will not only inspire other women, but it will also strengthen their hopes of fighting the challenges in life. In an interview, someone asked Nadya if she has any regrets in life. Her answer to it was the most surprising one. She says that she doesn't regret having as many as 14 children, but yes, she does regret her choices and decisions in life. She says, "I was very foolish, immature, and selfish to have 14 children, and didn't really think through the consequences. I was on a mission. I just wanted to have a bunch of kids, but I couldn't imagine my life at this point in time any different than it is." Nadya, from her past experiences, gives her children a very wise advice in life. She says, "Maybe at this point I know, and I need to teach my children that we need to learn. We need to grow, we need to keep on growing and transcending, and we need to make the best possible choices. And when we make poor choices, all you can do is really learn from that and grow from that. Try not to repeat it." She's giving her children the freedom to make their varied choices and learn something out of them. That's a pretty cool advice, Mom. In this image, you can see Nadya on the right and her eldest daughter, Nadya Suleman. Nadya posted this picture of hers on Amara's last birthday. She captioned the image with a heart-melting message, a message which makes everyone question that whether all of us were judging Nadya from the eyes of the media. The caption read, "Dear Amara, one of the most important lessons I try to teach you all is that every person that crosses your path is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, compassionate, and patient with people always, and aware that sometimes the brighter the smile, the deeper the suffering. By looking at your beautiful smile, no one could imagine the struggle you face, that we all face daily." This was a touching one and generated sympathy as well. Nadya has made many public appearances in her life, though initially they were quite fast. With time, it even declined. She has been trying hard to shed away the image of the infamous Octomom. But she has not been very successful yet. People continue to judge her for bringing so many lives into existence and into the state of hunger. All one can hope is that people begin looking at her as a human who wasn't selfish, but the one who genuinely loves kids.